Good morning to you. Now we will continue with the Constitution class. Today we will take up Article 22, the last article of right to freedom, which consists of Article 19, 20, 21, and 22. This article deals with protection of right to those who have been arrested or detained. This deals with two separate methods. Remember, two separate methods. Number one is with reference to the persons who have been arrested under ordinary law of crimes. Second is the persons who are detained under preventive detention law. So, two categories of people are dealt with in Article 22. Article 22 guarantees four rights to the persons arrested for any offence under ordinary law of crimes. What are those rights? Number one, right to be informed as soon as may be of the ground of arrest. Number one. Number two, right to consult or be represented by a lawyer of his choice. Number two, right to be produced before the nearest magistrate within 24 hours of his arrest, excluding the journey time from the place of arrest to the place of magistrate. 24 hours, remember. Number four, freedom from detention beyond the set period of 24 hours except by an order of magistrate. Remember, these are all the four rights. That is, number one, right to be informed of the ground of arrest, right to consult of any lawyer of his choice, right to be produced before the magistrate within 24 hours, excluding the period of journey from the place of arrest to the place of magistrate, and freedom from detention beyond the set period except by an order of magistrate. These are all the four rights available to any person who has been arrested under ordinary law of crimes. Remember, the article provides that these four rights are not available. Remember, these four rights are not available to two group of people. Number one, enemy alien. Obviously, if he belongs to a country which is at war with us, then naturally these rights are not available to him. Secondly, a person arrested and detained under preventive detention law. Preventive detention law. For these two group of people, the four rights mentioned before do not apply. Now the question is, what do you mean by preventive detention? Remember, there are two types of detention. One is punitive detention and the other is preventive detention. What is punitive detention? Punitive detention is as a matter of penalty. That is, for a crime you have committed, you are tried by a competent magistrate or judge and you are awarded the sentence. You know what is the crime you have committed, number one, and it is covered under Indian Penal Code, number two. You know the definition of the crime. You know what is the punishment stipulated in Indian Penal Code, and you also know that the procedure given in Code of Criminal Procedure will be followed. You know the crime, you know the punishment, you have the right to defend, and you know the procedure given in the Code of Criminal Procedure. All these things are followed and then your penalty is given, and then your punishment is given. So this is called punitive detention. The other is preventive detention. What is preventive detention? Preventive detention is preventing you, intercepting you from committing a crime. Remember, you have not committed any crime. You are detained because there is a possibility that you will commit a crime. There is a possibility you are going to commit a crime or an act which is an offense under the law, and the government is preventing you from committing that crime. That is called preventive detention. You do not know what is the procedure. No procedure has been followed. You have not been intimated to the ground of arrest. Nothing. Just you are taken and put behind the bars. This is called preventive detention. Remember, India has the dubious distinction of being the only democratic country in the world. Remember, we have the dubious distinction of being the only democratic country in the world which has preventive detention provision in the constitution even during normal times. UK constitution has a provision, but only during emergency. And it is unknown in the Constitution of the United States. No other country has any provision of Article 22, preventive detention, in any of their constitution. Now remember, at present we have 4 preventive detention laws. Number 1 is Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Act, 1974. Number 2, popular National Security Act, 1980. Number 3, Prevention of Black Marketing and Maintenance Supply of Essential Commodities Act, 1980. Number 4, Prevention of Illicit Traffic. Remember, illicit traffic in Narcotics Act, 1988. So these are all the 4 preventive laws which are still in existence in our country. Now, kindly closely watch. The Constitution has given safeguard against the preventive detention. What are the safeguards given against the preventive detention? Number 1, the government can detain a person in custody only for 3 months. Remember, these are all the safeguards given by the government to a person who has been detained under preventive detention law. Number 1 is, he can be detained in custody only for 3 months. Number 2, for detention beyond 3 months. Remember, for detention beyond 3 months, a report should be obtained from an advisory board as to whether the detention should be continued or not, or justified or not. So, second is 3 months you can detain. Beyond 3 months, you should get the recommendation of the advisory board. Now, what is the composition of advisory board? Advisory board consists of persons who are, remember, who are, or who have been, or who are qualified to be appointed as judges of High Court. Remember, who are the High Court judges, or who have been the High Court judges, or who are qualified to be appointed as High Court judges. That means you can appoint a retired person, present High Court judge, and who are qualified to be appointed as the judge of the High Court. That is 10 years, whatever constitutional requirement is given. Even that person, he need not be a High Court judge. If he is qualified to be appointed as judge of High Court, he can be in the advisory committee. So it is headed by it is a 3-member committee. One is chairman and 2 members. any person can be detained in accordance with the provisions of any law to be made by the government. To be made by the parliament. Remember, in addition to this, the parliament can make the class of persons who can be detained. Number 4. Number 5. The maximum period of detention will be prescribed by law made by the parliament. Remember, parliament has been given to prescribe by law what is the total period of detention, number 1. Number 2, any person can be detained in accordance with the provision of any law to be made by the parliament. So, these are all the 5 provisos, constitutional safeguard. Remember, the right available to the person who was detained under PD law, the constitutional right. What are the rights available to him? Number 1, he may be informed of the ground of detention as soon as possible, except where the detaining authority considers that such disclosure is against public interest. Remember, a person who has been detained under detention law may be informed of the ground of arrest, but if the competent authority feels that such disclosure is against public interest, then there need not be any intimation. Number 1. Number 2, the person so detained must have the earliest opportunity of making a representation against the detention order. So, he should be informed of the ground of arrest, subject to the satisfaction of the detaining authority. Secondly, he can be given an opportunity to make representation at the earliest opportunity. That's all. There is no hard and fast rule. Now, in addition to this, remember, most importantly, Parliament by law can prescribe the following. Very important. That is, this provision is the soul of this article. What is that? The Parliament has the powers to prescribe the following. What are those? Number 1. Kindly hear carefully. Kindly listen to me carefully. Number 1. The circumstances and the class of cases in which a person can be detained for more than 3 months without obtaining the opinion of the advisory board. Remember, first condition we say on the one side, the magistrate, without the orders of the magistrate, you cannot detain a person more than 3 months. But here, the Parliament has been given the powers to make a law indicating the circumstances and the classes of cases in which a person can be detained for more than 3 months, underline, without obtaining an opinion of the advisory board. Number 1. Number 2, the maximum period for which a person can be detained under preventive detention law. These also Parliament can prescribe. Number 3, procedure to be followed by the advisory board for an inquiry under this article. Number 3. Number 4. Remember, under this, Parliament has been given full powers. You don't go to the advisory board. Without advisory board recommendation, you can detain him. Parliament can make a law. That means the entire constitutional safeguard given to the preventive detenu has been taken away. Parliament has been given the powers. Now, 44th Constitutional Amendment Act 1978. 44th Amendment Act 1978, that is Janata government, has made following changes. Remember, most important, you should understand that what changes have been made. Number 1, the detention period before getting the opinion of the advisory board has been reduced from 3 months to 2 months. Remember, I told you, you have to get the advice of the advisory board before 3 months, and the extension is only on the advice of the advisory board. Now, the Janata government, through 44th Amendment Act 1978, has reduced the period of 3 months to 2 months. Number one. Finally, second point, very important. The composition of advisory board has been changed. The composition of the advisory board has been changed. What was there earlier? Who are, or who have been, or who are qualified to be appointed as judges of High Court can be appointed as chairman and members of the advisory board. This was prior. 44th Amendment changed it to, number one, chairman will be the serving judge of the High Court. Chairman will be serving judge of the High Court. Number two, the two members will be either serving or retired judges of any High Court. So, 3 members. And most importantly, the advisory board should be constituted only on the recommendation of the Chief Justice of appropriate High Court. Remember, 3 changes that they have made. 1, the advisory board can be appointed or constituted only on the recommendation of Chief Justice of the appropriate High Court, number 1. Number 2, the chairman of the advisory board should be the serving judge of the High Court, number 2. Number 3, the 2 members of the advisory board will be either serving judges of High Court or retired judges of High Court. So, these 3 changes they have made in the composition of the advisory board. Thirdly, very important, this has also abolished the provision of preventive detention without reference to the advisory board. That is, the parliamentary powers have been taken away. The powers of the parliament to detain a person without the recommendation of the advisory board have been taken away. Now, however, remember, most important, in spite of the fact that 44th Amendment Act 1978 was passed by both the houses of parliament and assented to by President of India 42 years before. 42 years before, the act has not been notified by the government so far. By successive governments, irrespective of the party affiliation, no government has notified this act, even though it has been passed by both the houses and assented to by President. Remember, you should know the difference between a bill and the what is known bill, act and law. Bill is a legislative proposal. It has not been passed by the legislature. It is only a proposal. When it is passed, when a bill is passed by both the houses and assented to by President, it becomes an act. So, the bill becomes an act. When the act is notified for public, it becomes the law. Remember, it becomes the law. Now, then what is code? What is code? Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Very popular, very famous. Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Code means, in respect of every law which has been notified, there are said, if you go through any other act, you will see there are 14 clauses are there. In each clause, as prescribed by the government, as prescribed by the authority will be there. That is, based on these provisions, they will make a subordinate legislation. That is, they will make a rule. The government, the officers, because Parliament has no powers to make the rule. So, these rule-making powers have been delegated to the officers, to the ministries. That is why these rules are called delegated legislation or subordinate legislation. So, for each rules, Industrial Dispute Act 1947, so there is a rule, Industrial Dispute Rules. Central Administrative Tribunal Act, Central Administrative Tribunal Rules. Indian Post Office Act, Indian Post Office Rules. So, for every act, there are rules. But code means the rules are incorporated in the law itself. That is called code. So if you see the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, there is no need for any separate rules. It is incorporated in the rules in the law itself. So for an Indian Penal Code, there is no need for a separate rule. Similarly, the Code of Criminal Procedure, there is no separate rules necessary. It is incorporated in the Code of Criminal Procedure itself. That is the difference between a bill, act, law and code. Thank you.